Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this episode I'm going to demonstrate how you can create a Docker file and how you can actually take that Docker file, build the image and create a container out of it. So let's get started. I've got a Windows platform here and I've already downloaded my Dockers for Windows, and I have my Dockers running in here, so I've got no container in there. I've got a couple of images here which I created over the past few weeks and days there. So to create a Docker file, first of all, you just open your favorite notepad. I'm gonna use a notepad called Sublime in here, right? So I'll be demonstrating three different command, very basic command. First of all, the first command is called from, right? Oops, from, and the second one is called run, and the third one is called cmd. So from is always the first command that you start on a Docker file. It tells you where you get the images from. So let's say I'm gonna create an image of Ubuntu, right? UNTU, okay. And then you can also find these images on the what do you call that? The Docker Hub. Let me open up my browser here. And if you type Docker Hub and go to the Docker Hub library here, so there's a huge amount of libraries that's in here. So I'm trying to create an image for myself out of Ubuntu, right? If you want a brand new image, that's the image called Scratch, right? This one here, this is completely empty image. So if you want to use this, you put your Scratch, right? And so on. So since I want to create an image out of Ubuntu, I'm just going to put it as Ubuntu. So essentially the from will create an Ubuntu image. The one that I'm talking about is this guy here. You'll download it, and then from there you can run any command, apt-get and whatnot. But for simplicity, I'm just going to run a command called apt-get, and I'm just going to update my Ubuntu. That's all I'm doing right now, right? You can also do things like run apk. Let's say if you want a vim, or if you want say curl, you can. And if your particular Ubuntu doesn't have say wget, you can add all this extra package in here when you create that image out of your own image here. So I'm not going to add any of this just for simplicity. I'm just going to do update on my Ubuntu package, and on the command here I'm just going to run a simple echo command here. So to run an echo command which shows on display, we'll just type echo comma and the message that you want to send. I'm just going to say hello world from cybernetics xynetimg image, right? So the run command only runs when you first build an image, and the command cmd will run every time you instantiate a new container. I'll show you what I mean by that here. So what you're going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and file save as, and I'm going to save it on my desktop here. You're going to have to call it a Docker file. That's the default name with no file name extension. Let's put it on the desktop here, and you can see the Docker file comes in here like that. It's just plain text file, right? There's nothing to it. So this is the default file name. You can change the name if needed to be, but for simplicity, let's keep it as Docker file. So once that's done, open. I'm going to minimize this guy here. So you can see I've got three images here. The next one I create will be here, right? So open the command prompt, and then you got to navigate to your desktop. Oops. cd desktop, right? You go dir, you can actually see your Docker file, which is 93 bytes, right? So okay, to build the Docker file, I'm just gonna bring this up here. To build the Docker file, you type docker space build -t, and then you give the name of the image, right? So the name such as that. So I'm gonna call it, I'll show you what it looks like. I'm gonna call it xynetimg, and then the version number, just like that. So just as a test, let me show you. You cannot have any uppercase in the image name. Let's say if I decide to do this with a capital I, right? And if I hit, and then after that, you gotta specify dot, which means the default directory, which is your desktop on this folder here, which pertains to this directory, right? So if you are somewhere else, you know, like let's say for example, if you are one directory below, you gotta specify the directory name, you know, desktop slash, you know, Dockerfile, right? And things like that. Since my command prompt is on the same directory as the desktop here, I'm just going to put a dot here, and they take this file as default. So anyway, I put a capital I here, and this is illegal naming. If you click enter here to try to build, it will tell you that the invalid argument, right? All your name must be of a lowercase. So I'm just gonna change this to I. So you must make all your image name as lowercase. That's something you have to be aware of. So once you hit enter, so what it does is that it goes ahead, download the Ubuntu, you know, and then it creates an image for you, just like that, right here, right? So you can see this the run command is running, but the cmd command, this command didn't run, only this one ran, right? So in order to create your container, when you create a container, this section will get executed. So in order to create a container, what you do is you type docker space run, and then you give the name of the image. So it's xynetimg colon 1.0. This is the first name colon 1.0. I'm going to go over to this container section here. You'll see a container pop up in here. Hit enter. You see a brand new container is up and running. You know, it says hello world from Cybernetics Inc. Image right here, this one here, right? So that got ran. Oops, let's bring this up here. But you can see that your container is persistent. Even if you close this, your container is done. It's still there. No, it's not running, but it's still there. So another way to run, before I show you something else, would be, let's say if you go Docker's images. Oops, sorry, image. Like it. So hold on. Docker images. It will show you the list of all the images that exist on your computer. Right now, I used to have 3, now I have 4. So if you go to images, you can see that's 4 of them, right? So keep in mind your image ID for this one is here. So what I want to show you was to run this Docker. What we did just now was to run based on the image name and the image ID. You can actually run based on the image ID itself. Let me copy it and then paste it in here. And you can also, I'm going to go to the container section here. You will see another container will come up, but this time around with the image ID. You know how this thing got signed image colon 10? One more will come up here. So you can see this number with the image. But you can see every time I run create a container or run an image, you can see just the images or the container persists on their Docker, even if you close an application and stop running. So the way to do it would be to clean up every time you're done using it, right? There's another way to actually run it so that it only stays for the duration of the Docker container running. The way to do it would be same thing, Docker run. You say -ti space --rm to remove. Then over here you say xynet image colon 10, or you can put the image ID. So just notice here how it comes in and goes on. Enter. See, it came in and went away. You see that is really relatively fast. Gonna run it again one more time. You can see. Gonna repeat the command again. Enter. It comes in and goes away, right? And when it comes in, I'll create the container. it prints that text there. Right, so this is a very simple demonstration on how you run the Dockerfile. If you have any questions, please leave comments. If not, please subscribe and like. Other than that, have a good day. Bye now.